Hello, this is teddygaming. Welcome back to another very special video. Because today we're going to be talking to the current artist of the tmnt The Saturday Morning Adventures Continues, as well as the tmnt Saturday Morning Adventures, and that person is Tim Lattie. So yeah, would you like to explain a little bit about yourself?
Um, so my name's Tim Lattie. I'm a comic book artist from the United States, Louisiana. And most notably worked on Ghostbusters for years. About to do some He-Man mini comics, so I got my references up on the table. And um and I guess my claim to fame at the moment is Ninja Turtles Saturday Morning Adventures from IDW. So that's just judging from the shelf behind you, that's what we're here to talk about.
Yeah.
So yeah, man.
Okay. So the first question is so first question is how did you find out about the project?
Um, you know, things things happen in life sometimes that are like strange, right? Like sometimes things just kind of fall into your lap and maybe I don't know. There's synchronicities and stuff. I Steve Levine, who was the original Mirage employee, he had come down here to do a signing, and we kind of hit it off, and we did a cover together for a Ninja Turtle comic, and then he asked me to work on the Shredder's Revenge video game box art, which is about to come out from a limited run. Like, so did this big old massive piece for that. Um, as that was going on, I strangely enough, I decided to just check in with my editor, Tom Waltz, who was one of the co-writers of The Last Ronin. I decided to just do a random check-in, like, hey, and got anything? Need some work, buddy. I need to pay the bills, buddy. Um, and he was just like, yeah, do some designs for the Fred Wolf Ninja Turtles. And dude, there's a great advice for like a young person. Man, when that moment came, I just went for it. Like I was just like, I kept sending in samples. I'm like, hey, what's up? What's up? And just kept squeaky wheel gets the grease, right? So I just kept bothering them. And Nickelodeon liked the designs and just kind of went from there. I ended up getting the gig. And it's just kind of funny that I was doing two separate Ninja Turtle projects at once. Like it was crazy. And here we are.
So with these stories, because they're like very unique and very creative for that version of Turtles, did you have any input on the stories?
Not as much. Eric Burnham's like one of the best writers in the biz, and especially regarding this kind of material when it comes to like that kind of you're much younger than me, I'm assuming. But like us 80s, 90s kids, I don't know, he gets it, and I get it as well. And my input comes more in the drawing process. Like if you look at issue number one, yeah, you may even be able to hear my rooster crowing right now. I have chickens. I threw in this whole backstory about chickens that's just a story within the story. Like I made my rooster basically the Mario brother. He was like Mario, and the princesses were my hens. So my input comes in that form. We're working on Saturday Morning Adventures continues. I'm working on issue number one right now. And spoiler alert, I don't know if they're letting me get away with it, but I'm trying with issue number three with Super Casey. Everything took place on the turtle playset, the vintage like turtle playset. If you look at it, it's all happening there. It's like you're playing with your toys. There's even a reference to Dick Tracy because Playmates made the Dick Tracy toys as well. Again, I'm dating myself. This is 1990. These toys come out. And I threw in like the rodent from Dick Tracy and stuff like that. So with this issue, with issue number one, and it's a two-parter, I kind of want it to take place in the original NES video game. So everything, all the backgrounds and all the scenes are, I don't know. I don't know if they're gonna. It's better to ask forgiveness than to ask permission, right? So I'm just kind of doing it and seeing if anybody stops me. And I'm 6 pages in, and nobody's saying anything. Yeah, I don't know when this is going to air, but nobody's saying anything yet.
Wow, that's amazing. So was it quite hard to go back into to like this like world or this version of TMNT?
No, because I never left. Like I mean, if you look at, well, I see. Time out, because I can see what you have behind you over there. dude, I got toys all over the place, man. I got Skelegod, I got He-Man. Like, you can't see like what else is going on in this room. I got, dude, this is a cool one. I got RC the other day,
Wow.
which is a great figure from whatever Transforms the movie. So like this is just what I love. This is my life, and there's a lot of, believe it or not, there's a lot of great lessons in it too. You know, like there really is with a lot of these characters, and it's yeah, man, it's powerful stuff. So I'm kind of, I'm not kind, I'm very grateful to be able to, I consider it carrying on tradition. You know, like somebody like a Steve Levine was there in the beginning, and I'm learning a lot from him. He's becoming like a big brother to me. And, you know, hopefully I can just kind of pass on that knowledge, that attitude, that exuberance, you know?
Yeah. So because in this miniseries, is able to create some new characters and bring in some new locations, it was quite hard and come up with those.
Now, again, man, some people are just, I keep using this example. Like, dude, you might know somebody in your life that just likes to dance. Or maybe you know somebody that just, man, my little sister was just always cooking and now she's like a chef or something like that. You know, sometimes there are people, I have a friend, he loves to argue. He's a lawyer now, you know, like it's right up his alley. Some people, sometimes it's just one of those things. So for me, like creating new characters, I probably enjoy that more than anything, to be honest with you. Like that's really, really fun. Um, we got some crazy designs going on for this first story arc on Saturday Morning Adventures Continues. But even like the Ready to Rock soldier, like that was one of my favorite things from issue number 2. That just happened naturally, like borderline first draft, man. Like I just sat down and went with it. So sometimes you just kind of pull it out the ether, you know, it just kind of comes to you. It's
So
very, very technical, you know, pull it out the sky.
it was quite hard to like draw in this art style. Or no, so like with the comics, do you have to draw in like a specific art style, or would you have to do your own art style?
Great question, actually. Like most things in life, it comes down to a lot of balance. I'm not going to be able to get away from who I am. It's integrating that into the animated style of that particular incarnation of the turtles. The tricky part with this is when they were doing the cartoons back in the day, the animation changed a lot because it was going from studio to studio. So if you go back and watch like the first 5 episodes of the miniseries of the cartoon, and then you look at it at the end, they don't look anywhere really that similar. So for me, it's kind of finding what is my preferred version of the turtles. Like I had to pick something and just roll with it. But at the same time, like Nickelodeon wants it to look a certain way. And like I said, then you have your own inclinations that you're tossing in there. So hopefully I'm doing, hopefully I'm doing a good job of like seamlessly transitioning, and combining all those different pieces together. But yeah, it's, if you watch the cartoon, it's all over the friggin' map. It's nuts. But I kind of like I'm focusing on the intro. Like that intro animation is so clean and good, but Nickelodeon doesn't like me doing the lines. Like
Oh.
the turtles have that snout kind of line. No, they are not into it. So I gotta I just gotta erase it. I draw it anyway and then I just remove it.
So because you included so many references from loads of different things from that time period, was there any like specific references you were told to put in there?
That's hard to put in there.
No. Was you told to put like any specific references in there?
Yeah, I mean, there's the first issue was such like a hitter. It had references from the video game. It had references from everything, and then I'm throwing in my own references at the same time. Um, Now I'm in a place of like I'm trying to pick and choose a little bit more. Like you don't want to kind of like I don't want to just like use all my ammo at once. So like issue 1 and issue 2, let's focus on NES the video game, and then maybe we'll kind of spread it out throughout the next year or however long the series goes for. But for me, it's also like very personal too, right? So I'm I'm in such like a very unique position that I'm drawing my childhood now, like Like, dude, the Masters of the Universe mini comics I'm about to be doing for Mattel, like that's wild. And it's kind of like a new way for me to play with my toys. So I'm just kind of seriously, or play with the video game. So it's fun to kind of revisit those things that you loved. And then maybe somebody like yourself, like maybe you're a young guy, maybe you go get an emulator, you know, you get one of these, you get on YouTube, you can figure out how to get like every video game. And you know, maybe you go play that NES game again and kind of revisit it for the first time, or maybe, you know, maybe you've played it before, or Turtles the arcade game, which was one of the coolest games ever. Back in the 90s, we had this place out here. It was called Celebration Station. You know, they had go-karts, video games, pizza, stuff like that. And man, when Turtles the arcade game was there, every kid was just, you could never even get in close. You know, you'd just be kind of like looking over somebody's shoulders to see what was going on. And I'd get too nervous to play, you know, because I probably was going to suck. But that was like the coolest that you can't even imagine Turtle Mania in late 80s, early 90s, like how intense and just encompassing it was for all of our lives. Like, it was amazing.
So with the references, do you have like a favorite reference you decided to put in there?
It's not Turtles though. It was the one I mentioned earlier. It was the chicken thing. Like, it was cool to kind of like, I actually worked on the Ghostbuster video game, Ghostbusters World, that Pokemon type video game, the app. And there was a chance to draw a house, and I made it the house that I grew up in. And it was kind of cool to like, hey, dude, like now where I grew up is canon for Ghostbusters, you know, like technically it's part of that world now. And so are my chickens, you know, so it was kind of cool to like put a piece of me in there, as weird as somebody's going to be watching this, like, dude, you know, this guy's nuts. But yeah, that was actually my favorite reference. Favorite turtle reference. I did like doing the playset. There's when the old Playmates Turtle playset had a fire hydrant, and it was a what do you call that, like on a submarine when you're looking to get around, a periscope, and it had an eyeball in it. So now what I'm doing is anytime I draw a fire hydrant, I'm putting different eyeballs in there. So like maybe it'll be a monster eyeball, or maybe it'll be a robot or something like that. So I'm kind of like expanding the idea that every fire hydrant, maybe somebody who's down there watching what's going on, you know. So I'm having fun playing, you know, but it's fun. Like, I'm having fun. I'm having fun in the background. That's where you're really going to see my presence on this book. You know, more creatively. Dude, I threw in stuff from Bill and Ted. That's in issue number 3. It's already out, so they can't get me. I can't. It's too late now. Too late now, Viacom. But yeah, so I'm trying to throw in as many references as I can. Again, it's better to ask forgiveness than permission. You know, go for it. I'm trying to do it for us.
So I was watching one of your Twitch live streams the other day when he was going over the issue 1, and he was mentioning with the page with like, all the villains on there, and he's saying that there was like some villains you wasn't allowed to do because of licenses and all that. So with the villains, was there any like villains you was not allowed to draw?
Yeah, there was one page in particular, and it had Titus. I think the guy's name was, and he was like this big, crazy, bulbous alien character. And I had to replace him, and I think we ended up going with I made it somebody else, and I think Granitor. I'd have to go back and look at the page. And I think we ended up with Lotus Blossom, who they just came out with a toy for. It was Lotus Blossom and maybe Baxter Stockman, because the character was so big, I had to replace it with 2 characters. But that was the only edits I had on issue 1. And I don't know what the license was on that one, because it was such like a bizarre, like it was the most random character. You think it would be like a throwaway, but that's what I'm saying. I feel like that's almost part of my job. Is I should be the one pushing the issue and trying to put more crazy stuff in there. And then it's all the lawyer's job to tell me no. You know what I mean? Like, I'm just going to keep doing what I'm doing. I'm trying to make it fun. I don't care what the lawyers say and what the contracts say. Like, I'm trying to do this for us, you know? So I'm going to throw in a Bill and Ted reference or whatever. And, you know, you catch me, you catch me. But yeah, there's the license is split so many different ways. It's crazy. So like the 2012 Turtles, you can't really put stuff from that in there. I was throwing in movie references in issue 3. I was throwing in movie references. So it's Danny from the original movie because he's wearing the Sid shirt. The other guy, you remember the 1990 movie?
Yeah.
There's a cool scene. There's a cool scene where your boy, and it's a famous actor. I forget who he was. He was in Iron Man 2. And he comes in and
Oh,
he's
Sam
like,
Rockwell.
it was Sam Rockwell. So I threw in the Sam Rockwell character, regular or menthol, like that scene in the movie. They're like, can we smoke? And he just happens to have like 2 cartons of cigarettes. Um, and then it was Hun from the 2005 series. And I thought it would be, so it's a big Batman the Animated Series spoof. And then Casey is Batman. So it's the opening of Batman the Animated Series where the building explodes and the guys start running out and stuff like that. And I thought it would be cool to have those references because they're in silhouette anyway. And dude, that was a big no-no. I had to go back and change everything. So I may post those on my Patreon or something like that and let everybody see the behind the scenes. But I thought it would be cool to have those, but they don't want to do that. They want to keep it in that world, keep everything separate. And we'll see where we go from there. We'll see what we can do.
So when drawing the comic, was any like hard characters to draw?
Right now it's a Rat King story, and I'm loosening up with him on page 6, but he's kind of difficult. And again, because of there's no clear definitive Rat King. Like I'm looking up references and stuff like that, and he's just all over the map. And so I have to kind of just pick throw a dart, pick a starting point, where I got the He-Man sword in my hand right now, throw a dart, and then I kind of got to go from there. And then from there, I'm also adding to it. I'm like, well, what does he look like if he's facing this way? What if he's so you're building that visual style guide at the same time. He's kind of difficult. Splinter was, but then in issue 4, I had to draw him like a million times. So I kind of got Splinter down now. Rat King's giving me a little trouble at the moment. Who else? There were some other characters. Bebop and Rocksteady, they were very heavy in issue number 2. And they just have so much detail on them that it kind of how many times do I have to draw the chains on Bebop's outfit? Bebop especially is very detailed.
Okay, so going off with the drawing questions, did you have like a favorite character to draw?
Man, those simple questions are like some of the hardest ones. Who's my favorite character to draw? The turtles I got pretty much down now. I like April, but she's also like semi-detailed. Man, I like Casey. Man, I'm gonna pick a non-turtle. I like drawing Slash. Like I got to do him in issue 1, and that was like really fun. And that was a journey on its own, again with references and stuff like that. Like it came to a point where I had him like punching Raphael because Slash has got to fight Raphael in my mind. And what did the back of his shell look like? And that was the hardest part, was trying to figure out what the back of Slash's shell looked like so I could be accurate. It took forever to figure that out. So that takes up more time than anything, you believe it or not. It's just me sitting on Google trying to figure out, oh man, what does the bottom of somebody's foot look like or something, Because I don't want to cheat it. Like I would feel cheated if somebody else did that. You know what I mean? Like I would be like, man, like you just made it up. Like, what does the engine on the turtle van look like? I want it to be accurate. Or what does the controls in the turtle blimp or whatever look like? So.
And do you prefer the interiors or the covers for the comics?
The interiors have you get to play around a little bit more, like all the references we've been talking about. Like you get to play around with those a lot more. And then there's also like the art of comics is within the pages. It's within the panels. And you're really in any art piece, whether it's like the Mona Lisa or whatever, the artist is trying to direct your eyes. Like there's always going to be a center point that you start staring at. And then if you're a good artist or you're competent in your work, you're going to lead the viewer where you want them to go within the piece. And in comics, you specifically do that because I'm trying to guide your eye through the page in reading order. And so something might happen where maybe a punch is going on or something like that. Well, I don't want to be punching off the page because then you're leaving the arena now. Like we're almost breaking the fourth wall. So you want to have that punch going down to the next panel and then moving. So there's, dude, watch. There's all kinds of stuff going on in there. And that's the beauty of drawing comics. So that's what that's one of the things I very much enjoy about the interiors. The covers are more a chance to just kind of do that one cool piece. And then you kind of, you're in and out. Kirby used to talk about this, Jack Kirby. The thing is, they have you do the covers before you even dude, I'm doing the covers before I even read the stories. So I haven't, it's weird because you got to get it into previews and you got to do all that. I get it, but I haven't lived the adventure yet. And a lot of times I'm working out things on the cover, like designs and stuff like that. It's kind of a backwards process. I wish I could do it at the end when I know, hey, this happens in it, or man, that would be a cool moment to pick up. Sometimes I'm just guessing, I'm just making stuff up. No, the great example, I did the issue 2 cover recently for the ongoing, and the turtles are in these mech suits. These they kind of look like Centurions, which was an old 80s cartoon. Dude, I'm designing it on the cover. As I'm doing it for real. The cover is my rough draft first draft. And I'm okay, I guess this is what the comic's gonna look like, Don't clock's ticking, they need it by Friday. I guess this is what it's gonna be. It came out cool, but
So with the covers, do you are you told to add on very specific things, or are you able to do what you want for the cover?
It goes back and forth. So sometimes they don't let me do stuff. For issue number 3, I wanted to have it look like Operation, the video, the board game, when you're trying to get the bone out and all that kind of stuff. And I wanted to have that for the Electric Casey cover. And they wouldn't let me do it. And there's a lot of, again, it comes into licensing and all that kind of stuff. For the issue number 1 cover, the editors had one idea that they wanted to go with, and I kind of pushed back on that. And thankfully, they let me get away with it. But I wanted it to be, I felt it's issue number 1. It needs to be a movie poster. And then we can start getting crazy and have different kind of stuff going on. But with number 1, man, you just got to come. Where's it at? I don't want everything to fall while we're talking. But that's a movie poster. You know what I mean? Yeah. That could be a lunchbox. That could be whatever. And I feel for number 1 specifically, it's got to be like that. Key issues, it's got to be like that. Otherwise, you can start playing around with things. And as we move on, I'm going to get a little crazier,
So I'll talk a little bit about the Avengers Continue. I don't know how much you really talk about it, but so is there any sort of characters or location and you'd like to draw in that series?
We're still so early on. We're only on the issue number 1 script. I think Eric might be done number 2, the issue 2 script. So no, it's like I said earlier, I'm kind of going in there and just kind of making up my own thing. I really so if you played the original NES game, there were little boxes that you would hey, maybe you get shooting star upgrade or a weapon upgrade or health or whatever. Pizza would be health. And then the whole pizza would be full blown health. So I'm making up new ones as I go along. So with the Rat King, I'm oh, maybe I'll put cheese here in one of these little boxes, or maybe I'll put they get hypnotized, and maybe I'll put those would be X-ray glasses. So I'm trying to think of something. I'm literally in the creative process right now, making this stuff up. And I'm man, that would be kind of fun. I wonder if they'll let me do it. So that's, and also all NES games. It's got coffee all over it, but I got NES coasters all over here. It's like Mario 3. They were all side scroll. So I'm taking that opportunity to turn the camera a little bit. So that side scroll, when you're in the sewer, especially in those first few levels of the NES game, well, man, what would that look if it's a 3/4 view, or what would that look from above? So I'm kind of playing around with the angles too, to kind of give you a different view of that environment, and all bringing it all into the turtle mythos, right? So that's what's kind of going on.
So going off that question, and is there any specific characters you'd like to draw?
I mean, the one, it's kind of funny. You figure it out as you go. Like I said, I didn't think I was going to dislike Bebop or or dislike the Rat King, or I didn't think I was gonna like drawing something else, you know. April's really tricky. Like I'm trying to get her hair right and stuff like that. And again, I'm trying to stay like very active or accurate. Um, it kind of comes. It happens as it happens, if that makes sense. But it is fun to throw in like the rodent from Dick Tracy. It is fun to kind of throw in those like side references. And I'm throwing in like my friends. There's a Sanford and Son reference. I don't know if y'all had that show over there.
And not too
Um,
sure.
Okay, it was like about these two junkers, a man and his son. It was really funny. Like 70s show. So I got the Sanford and Son truck in there in the beginning, and that I think that's what I probably enjoy drawing the most is like random references, you know.
But did you ever look at your favorite turtle?
Oh wait, what's my favorite turtle?
Yes.
Raphael. And look, dude, look. So when I was younger, I had a best friend, and his name was Lyle, and I haven't talked to him in years, but I had a best friend Lyle, and he was all into Ninja Turtles, and man, he had all kinds of cool stuff that I didn't have, and I would sleep over at his house all the time. And so, as like a young kid, he said Raphael was his favorite. So, like like monkey see, monkey do. But over time, he really did become my favorite character. And throw a curveball out on the whole Raphael like mentality. A lot of people think he's like, oh, he's cool but rude, or he's kind of like the jerk on the team and stuff like that. Dude, I would argue that he's the heart of the team and that he's the most passionate one on there. You know what I mean? Like
Yeah.
he just is. And bruh, as I was getting older, for a long time there on my birthday, I would watch the what was it, 2007 CGI movie. I would watch it like every year the night of my birthday, like going into that day, just because it was about the turtles growing up and dealing with growing up and their relationships and stuff like that. And there's that amazing moment where Raphael fights Leo, and who's gonna win? And Raphael smokes him, dude. And he could always smoke him. But like, there's a reason Splinter made Leo the leader of the team, and everybody had their different roles and stuff like that. But dude, Raphael's the heart, in my opinion. I think he's the heart of the team. I think he's the passion. I think that is because I'm like that, and I think it gets misunderstood sometimes. Like, you know, I'm a lot of people say I'm intense, and I'm like, dude, I'm passionate. I just care about what I'm talking about. Like it's not, it's the heart. It's I care about it so much. So Raphael all day, man, no question.
Yeah, well, that's all the questions I have, and I just want to give a big thank you for doing this. This means a lot to me.
Dude, anytime you hit me up and whenever you want, brother. This was super fun, super cool.
Yeah, I don't have anything else to say, but just thank you so much. The comics have
Yeah,
been,
man.
yeah, the comics have been such a blast to read.
Yeah, dude, absolutely, absolutely.